Welcome to today's webinar on UVC lighting. My name is Nida Hussain and I'm your MC today. We would like to thank our co-host IEEEP team for their great efforts in making this event possible today. We particularly would like to appreciate the attendance of the distinguished chairman IEEEP, Mr. Khalid Parvez, for joining today's session. The agenda for today's webinar would be as follows. We would be having a welcome address by the chairman and CEO Signify Pakistan, Mr. Asad Saeed Jafar. Then we'll be having a presentation by a UVC champion, Mr. Ali Sultan, on what is UVC radiation, how does it work, its proven effectiveness on inactivating viruses, using UVC technology in a safe way, application, recommendations, solutions, Q&A with our lighting specialist, closing comments by Mr. Khalid Parvez, Chairman IEEEP Pakistan. Just a little housekeeping before we start. I would like to If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the question box. I'll bring them up during the presentations. We'll also be having some time at the end of the presentations for the question and answers. Now, without a further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Asad Saeed Jafar, Chairman Signify Pakistan, to share his thoughts on the webinar. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Nida. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to be speaking to the distinguished audience today. And I'm very thankful to IEEEP and Khalid Parvez Saab in particular and the managing committee members for inviting Signify, which I'm sure you know is the new name for Philips Lighting, to co-host this webinar on a very important topic, which is UVC lighting. Philips, as you would know, has been a pioneer in innovation since its inception in 1891. So well over a century, Philips has pioneered different types of technological innovations and still continues to keep innovation at the core of its strategy. We have as the four pillars of our strategy. The first pillar is still to continue to innovate, to leverage the full potential that is now on offer because of IoT, to unlock the potential of lighting, not just for the purpose of illumination, but indeed using lighting as an intelligent language. And finally, innovation, not for the sake of innovation, but that is innovation to bring the benefits of that innovation to our customers and to the world in general. COVID-19 has thrown up an unprecedented challenge in its scale and the impact on societies. People are affected very directly on an individual level, as well as on a collective level. And of course, at the same time, businesses are also greatly affected, since the entire world has gone through a phenomenon, is going through a phenomenon, which does not happen very often, thankfully. It has impacted all facets of our life, whether it's traveling, whether it's leisure, whether it's shopping, whether it's movement, and of course, whether it's work or schooling and education as well. And we are all adapting to it, to living with this changed reality. Now, we believe that technology is one of the solutions to coping up with UVC. In addition to all the other interventions that have taken place and are taking place, including, of course, vaccination, standard operating procedures to remain safe. Now, UVC, as you would, or UV, as you would know, since we're all engineers here, is the invisible part of our lighting spectrum. And UVC in particular is that part of the UV spectrum which is in the range of about 200 to 280 nanometers wavelength. It has powerful germicidal properties. It breaks down DNAs and RNA of viruses, bacteria, spores, and molds in air, water, or surface, rendering them harmless. And therefore, UVC can play a vital role in disinfecting air surfaces, objects in school, and it can impact positively all the facets of our existence and where we normally spend time, be it in industry, offices, schools, shopping malls, etc. Now, UVC lighting is something that Philips has been developing and indeed commercially marketing for many years. In the past, the application of our UVC lamps were in more niche and specialized equipment for for example, water purification systems, etc. But with COVID-19, what Signify has done is to really look at what kind of a role we can play in coping up with this pandemic. And through that sort of mission and desire to make an impact, we've actually come up with a broad portfolio of products and solutions to help both professional as well as consumer needs. Whilst we knew already that UVC is effective against bacteria and viruses in general, before we could make the claim that this would be equally effective against the COVID-19 virus, which is known as the SARS-CoV-2 virus, we had it properly and scientifically analyzed and tested at the Boston University laboratories. And research over there showed that 99% of the virus was deactivated in a very short span of time. So UVC technology is, a great opportunity for us for coping with and even eradicating the SARS-CoV-2 virus in the areas that we use it. It can help us on a personal level, but also especially, as I mentioned earlier, when we talk about the various institutional applications, healthcare facilities, offices, schools, public spaces where people go, this can be immensely beneficial. And as professional engineers, we believe that we all should know about it, first of all. We may have heard about it, read about it, but I think we should all have a good working knowledge of what UVC lighting is, what kind of solutions we have available today, how do we design it into different applications, which parts of the UVC portfolio would be suitable for what applications, how do we make sure that the application that we've designed it for is done in a safe manner. I think these are all very relevant questions that professional engineers, whether you're working in design and consultancy, whether you're working as a professional engineer in a company, in an institution, whether you're teaching engineering, and indeed whether you're a student of engineering. I think these are very, very important things that we should all be aware of. And the session today, which is going to be largely conducted by my colleague Ali Sultan and also Jamil, both engineers, will walk you through the various UVC concepts and applications. So hopefully by the end of this webinar, the audience will have a good knowledge of what UVC lighting is, how it can be effective against, the COVID-19 virus in particular, since that's the most pressing need of the hour. But in providing virus, bacteria-free environment in general as well. So it goes beyond COVID-19. As a student of engineering myself, and I'm always very pleased to say that Professor Khalid Parvez Saab was my professor at NED University. It gives me double the pleasure to be co-hosting this webinar with IEEEP. Um, I would strongly encourage all the participants to actively sort of absorb all the information being shared. And as my colleague Nida already explained, that any questions that you have, please type them out in the chat box so that at the end of the session from Ali and Jamil, we would be able to take all those questions. With that, I wish all the participants a very illuminating and a very exciting time during this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asasa. Thank you for the introduction. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ali Sultan, UVC champion for Signify Pakistan, for his presentation. Ali, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm engineer Ali Sultan and I'll be presenting this presentation along with my colleague engineer Jamil. So let's start the presentation. So in this presentation we'll be discussing about COVID-19 and the new adjustment which we have to make in our daily lives. I'll be talking about UVC disinfection and types of disinfections. Then we'll be going through a bit about UVC portfolio which Signify has launched. And then the interesting part comes that we'll be discussing different applications of our daily lives, which may be from any industry or office, schools, healthcare facilities. And then my colleague will be presenting the about the formula and the designing which needs to be done before for a project for UVC disinfection, and then we'll be going for a Q&A section. So as this is just a brief background that how a virus is transmitted into different humans. So there are two ways. One is from the air, that if someone sneezes or coughs, so that the virus droplets are present in the air and those are inhaled by any other human being and they get infected. Similarly, the same virus can be deposited on different surfaces, and when we touch that surface and through our hands, it can go to our throat and we can get disinfected. So there are two ways: direct airborne, indirect airborne, or surface borne transmissions. That's why air and surface disinfection is very important, as it is protecting the health of human beings, and UVC light has the power to disinfect. So Philips is making UVC lights since last 35 years, and those lamps are being used in different products, and those products are used to disinfect so that a safer environment can be made for the people. Similarly, after COVID-19, Signify also worked along with Boston University and they performed the UVC disinfection on SARS-CoV-19 virus. And they were able to determine that if a dose of 22 millijoules per centimeter square is applied, so we can get 4 log disinfection, that is 99.9999% of disinfecting SARS-CoV virus in 25 seconds. So this is a published press release. You can find it on internet. You can also get this press release from us if you want to go in details. So adjusting to the new normal, nowadays we see that new things are coming, and we all know that bacteria and viruses are present everywhere. It can be in air, it can be in our foods or in our plants or in our animals. It can be in soil and water. So we have to adjust. How are we adjusting? that after COVID-19 we all have applied different disinfection facilities either at our homes, in our offices. We have started giving importance to hand hygiene, respiratory etiquettes, and we are keeping social distancing. So these are all new normals which we are following these days. Also, we also lockdowns happening in this country, in entire in almost all the countries. And now when the lockdowns are being relaxed and things are opening, but still people do fear this virus and getting infected. So in a survey, it came that 67% of Americans are still uncomfortable going to shoppings. Why? Because we have not made our areas safer for people to come. Also, as we all are here in Pakistan, also worrying about our children going to school, whether the schools have put on any disinfection SOPs or any routines they have developed or not. So these all are concerned, and these are valid concerns. So how can we make or create a safe working environment, a safe living environment? How can we ensure effective disinfection while more microorganisms become resistant to chemical treatment? Also, we want to prevent excessive cost. So this is the work of an engineer to design a solution which should be cost effective, which should be effective fighting the viruses and bacteria. So the answer is the UVC disinfection. So UV rays, as already told by Asasa, that ultraviolet is invisible to human eye and it lies in the lighting spectrum. So UV has three types: UVA, UVB, UVC, depending upon the wavelengths. So we'll be talking about UVC, which lies between 200 to 280 nanometer, and the purpose and this is used for disinfection. How does it work? That UVC, when applied or exposed to a bacteria or virus, it breaks the DNA and RNA of the bacteria virus spores. And to date, all bacterias, viruses, or fungus, all known are not resistant to UVC. They all are UVC is effective on all viruses, all pathogens. UVC is not something new, so it is being used since last 35 to 40 years in different applications, especially in industrial applications like cleaning of industrial tanks on or conveyor belts of FMCGs. So these are being used. Also, these UVCs were being used in water disinfections. So this is not something new. It is a known technology. Most UVC solutions to date are utilizing conventional lighting, and now after COVID-19, R&D is on its boost for UVC technology, and they are improving the efficiency of LED as well. Just to mention that the highest output we can achieve is at 253.7 nanometer of wavelength. So this at this wavelength, the properties of disinfection are its maximum. So UVC is trusted. It is being used since last 35 to 40 years. It is effective as no known pathogen is resistant to UVC radiation. It is fast. It can disinfect objects within seconds or minutes, and it is versatile as it can be used in numerous applications. One important thing to mention here is that UVC is very harmful for human beings. It can harm our eyes and skins if directly exposed to it. So whatever applications or products we are making, we need to make sure there are some safety features like motion or presence detection, which can auto switch the lamps, UVC lamps. Also, it should be operated by a technical, well-trained person. Also, what Philips is doing that Philips is also adding a blue hue, a blue color in the lamps. So just to give an visibility factor that whenever the lamp is on, we should know that it is on by seeing at it. And one more thing, last but not the least, UVC has a very short wavelength, so it cannot penetrate through walls or glass. If a glass is greater than 3 millimeter, it will not penetrate through it. So whatever product devices we are making, it should be safe for the use of human beings, and it should follow the standard product safety release approbations. Now we'll be talking about types of disinfections. So there are three types of disinfections for UVC: air disinfection, surface disinfection, water disinfection. After COVID-19, we come to know the more importance is given to air and surface disinfection, because it is normally used in our daily lives, in our offices, in our working environment, in our homes. So what is air disinfection? So air disinfection is disinfecting the air inside a room or a hall or a area. So what it does is that we use free convection of air, or we use forced ventilation, which is moving the air. And similarly, the product which is installed in the room, so it will be disinfecting the upper air, and when it will rotate, the clean air will go down and the uh, untreated air will come up. Then similarly, it will also get treated with the UVC solution. Similarly, for surface disinfection, we install our UVC products, and it spreads the UVC radiation, and wherever it falls, it will disinfect that surface, either on tables or chairs or our equipment. So wherever it will fall, it will disinfect it. Similarly, UVC is also used in water disinfection, and it is the most clean disinfection process, as no chemicals are used in it. Also, one advantage of UVC is that when we disinfect through any chemical or any mist, so the residual remain on the surfaces, and it can penetrate into our bodies, the chemical residual. But in UVC disinfection, there is no chemical residual, and there is no any harmful effect, any harmful thing, rather than just the UVC radiation if exposed directly. So, through surface and air disinfection, we see many applications in our daily lives where we can use it. We can use it in retail, in our offices, in restaurants, in our transportations, hospitals. So we see a lot of applications in our daily life for UVC disinfection, especially after COVID-19. So I'll be talking about now few applications of air disinfection. So air disinfection can be done if we develop a product which has UVC lights in it, and it will be disinfecting. It will be installed in the room, 1 or 2 units, and it will be disinfecting. Similarly, we can also install UVC lamps in our air conditioners, and the air conditioner is throwing the clean air, so it will be passed through the UVC and it will be sterilized air. Similarly, UVC lamps can also be installed in HVAC air ducts. So the air ducts which are throwing air into a hall or a area, so that air will be also will be it will be clean air. Similarly, for surface disinfections, we can develop robots, we can develop tunnels through these batons, or we can develop cabinets which will disinfect different surfaces. These robots or trolleys will be portable, they can be taken to any area and we can disinfect it. Similarly, in these cabinets, we can put in our tools, our laptops, our equipment, and those will be disinfected. Now talking about UVC portfolio of Signify, so we have a complete portfolio. We have surface disinfection portfolio, we have air disinfection and object disinfection. Talking about surface disinfection, so we have normal batons, we have sensor batons which have microwave sensor built in for safety reasons. Then we have these mobile trolleys, single arm, double arm, and also we have a control solution in which we can add sensors, we can add timers, and we can design a complete solution for a premises. Similarly, for air disinfection, we have upper air units, we have wall units. So these two work on forced ventilation or normal convection of air inside a room. So these does not have any ventilation in their own. So whether it's a air conditioner or normal air convection. So they use it. They use that air to disinfect. And also we have a portable floor standing unit, just like a air purifier. So so the difference in air purifier and air disinfection unit is that air purifiers has filters installed in it, which filters out the dust and small particles in it, while our UVC air disinfection unit has UVC lamps installed inside it, and it is disinfecting the air with from viruses and bacteria. For object disinfection, we have four sizes of chambers or chambers: mini chamber, small chamber, UV, medium chamber, and large chamber, depending upon the size and application. Now is the fun part. We'll be talking about different applications in our daily lives. So where these disinfection units can be installed or used. So first we'll be talking about air disinfection unit. So air disinfection is the only disinfection where human presence can is allowed, because in it the UVC radiation is not directly coming towards the humans. It is just you will see after this slide I've added a video in which you will get more explanation how it works. So these air disinfection units can be used in the hospital lobbies, the reception, waiting rooms, where and other public areas where a lot of people interact with each other. So if there is a air disinfection unit, so at least we are giving them clean and sterilized air. Similarly, in retail stores, the shopping malls or retail stores, grocery stores, so air disinfection units should be installed in those, because many people are coming, they are interacting, whether someone is infected from a virus, from a disease. So we should be cleaning the air in the retail stores, especially if not the entire store, then especially the entrance of the store and the checkout areas or the counter areas. Similarly, in restaurants, these days we see that the dine-in is not allowed in our city or in our country. So in order to open those dine-in or facilitate the restaurant owners, so we should give them design of air disinfection units. So if an air disinfection unit is installed in a restaurant, so the customers which are coming, they get clean air and they can feel a bit safe. Similarly, our office areas, we see that almost all the offices are working on shifts of a 50% shift, so 70% shift. So we can run a open 100% shift if air disinfection unit is installed. I've shown also one application, live application. So it's a coffee bean restaurant in Korea, and you can see that different air disinfection units are installed in it. Similarly, in Hong Kong, government has giving orders, or they've made a law that all indoor restaurants should have at least air disinfection installed in their premises. Now you'll see a video which will explain air disinfection. I hope this from this video you get more idea of air disinfection and how it is very important. And we engineers should be working to make sure that these are installed in the projects, in the offices, in the industries. Now we'll be talking about surface disinfection. Again, this is very important. And we see that the schools are not opening because government is not able to make proper SOPs which are effective. So my solution is that if we install surface disinfection like this trolleys or UVC buttons in the classroom, and the idea is that before start of school, if they can open the UVC lamps for half an hour, for 15 minutes, so the desk, the entire area of a classroom will be sterilized and bacteria and virus free. So these can be installed in the classrooms. Surface disinfection is very much required in the gyms and leisure spaces like salons and beauty parlors, clubs. So people go there and have a good time. They spend their quality time over there. So different people are coming. So surface disinfection is required because there are common common tools, common things which we touch. So surface disinfection is required there. Also in our offices, working areas. So working areas should be disinfected and clean so that it is directly impacting the health of our employees. Also for retailers, if we see the shopping cart, if we take the example of a shopping cart, so shopping cart is used by many people in a day. So is it being properly disinfected? We need to make sure. Similarly, here I have given the example of a hotel room, Rosewood Hotel in Abu Dhabi. So they are using these trolleys, mobile trolleys, to disinfect their rooms. So whenever a room is occupied by a person, so when that person leaves the room, so they first clean it and they make sure that they disinfect it with this trolley, which takes around 15 to 20 minutes. So entire room will be disinfected. So whenever the new person comes in that room, he should have a clean room. Similarly, if we can develop a tunnel like this with the help of UVC lamps, so these all are UVC lamps. So this will make sure that the trolley cart is disinfected from all sides and is clean enough for the next person to touch in. So this will be just passing the trolleys through this tunnel, excuse me, will disinfect the trolley completely. So these type of solution can be designed, can be thought of. Now I'll be talking about object disinfection. So this is also very necessary. So object disinfection is done through the chambers, which I showed earlier. So in schools or in restaurants or different areas, there are shared devices and personal belongings which we use. For example, in schools, in the labs, the equipment which the students are using. So those are shared equipments. So those should be disinfected before use. Similarly, in restaurants or any other area where tablets and headsets are being used, so those should also be disinfected. Similarly, in office and industry, the tools which people are using, so those can be disinfected as well. Those should be disinfected before use. Now, in retail, the return goods which arrive at the cash counter or the service desk, you don't know where that parcel has been through. It is possible that has been carried by a COVID infected customer as well. So we need to make sure that is disinfected before it is put in the store. Similarly, the packages and devices we bring to office, for example, the couriers coming to our offices, or the each and every employee is carrying his laptop bag. So before entering the office, it should be disinfected so that the office area does not get contaminated. Similarly, for hotels, Philips is also designing it, and we can also design it. We engineers can also design tunnels where these tunnels can be used in hotels and at airports where our luggage passes through it and it is disinfected. We should be making sure that whatever we bring to a new place, whatever object we bring to a new place, should be disinfected so that the new place does not get contaminated. The whole idea is this. So these are just few examples which I have showed. There can be numerous more examples which we have to think, which we have to develop the solutions for it. Now I'll be talking about the complete retail stores and which disinfections we can use in it. So for example, this is a Khadi store or any other brand store, retail outlet. So what we can use in it, we can install upper air in this entire store, which will be disinfecting air. We can use buttons to disinfect the fitting room. So especially I'll be using a sensor button. So whenever a customer is in the trying room, so the UVC should be off, and when he leaves, the UVC should be turned on, and it would disinfect the room. Similarly, the tried clothes should be disinfected before being again put in the store, and these can be disinfected in the chambers. All the products which are displayed for the customers, they should be disinfected. And last but not the least, the purchase good which you are buying, so it should be disinfected before you leave the store. Now my colleague Jamil Ahmed will be presenting the formula and designing of UVC.
Just unmute it. Hello everyone, this is Jamil. So I'm going to explain you about a few things while doing designing. As as we know, the UVC can be harmful if we are not using it in the right manner and in the right position. So we have to calculate the amount of dose that we need to deactivate the virus like COVID. Earlier, there are some other pathogens as well for which we were using the same ultraviolet radiation. But for this COVID especially, we have to hit a specific amount of dose to deactivate it by damaging its RNA by RNA. We can use different tools like Dilux and Relux UVC. We recently created just for the UVC calculation. We are doing a Lux calculation with the Dilux. We can also use the Dilux for the UVC calculation, uh, but Relux UVC is more appropriate for the calculation. As we know, there are different kinds of light fixtures which obviously have different amount of intensity. So we need to calculate the right amount of intensity and for the specific amount of time that we have to use for this UVC calculation. This is a long process in which we have to work with the customer and the end user. First, we have to literate them about the UVC, how it can be harmful and how it can be useful for them to know about the actual requirement. And then we have to run a software. We have to run the fixture with the specific software and find out the correct design. So it's a to and fro communication on multiple stages, and after that we will offer the installation as well. We can go for the installation for the customer is. So whoever needs about the about or they or if they want to go for the installation of the UVC, they can approach us. Similarly, there are because there are different amount of because there are different parameters that we need to keep consider while doing design. So we are relating some of our engineers who are interested in some consultancy firms, and at the same time we are also directly approaching customers who are opting for the UVC installation for their facilities. So this is all from my side.
Thank you, Jamil. So just to mention that safety is very much important for any UVC product or design. So that's why Jamil is heading our entire team here in Signify, and his team is working on different projects for designing purposes. And also we are very much interested, or we can help other engineers. So if you need any help or any support in designing or in getting any information UVC, you can always contact us. I've given our email addresses here. You can see it. Ali Sultan Ahmed, ali.sultan.ahmed is my email address. And you can also contact nida.hussain. So we'll then get in touch with you. We can train you. We can support parallelly. We can support simultaneously with you on your projects for UVC designing. So let's work together and make this place more safer for human beings. Thank you. If you have any question, please write down in the comment box or any. Nida, do you?
Yes. Thank you, Ali, for the detailed presentation that you've shared. If there are any questions, if there are any comments that you would like to, share with us, please write them in the chat box. If you would like to receive a copy of the presentations, please write your name and your email address. We'll send a copy and the relevant materials to you. With this, Ali, I have a question for you. Now, this came from someone. Can UVC light inactivate COVID-19 virus?
Yes, it can definitely inactivate COVID virus, and this has been proved. So Boston University conducted a procedure or a test, and they used Signify UVC lamps in it, and they determined a dosage which, when applied to COVID virus directly, so it can disinfect the virus within 6 seconds. So the complete research is published, and you can find it on internet as well. If you write on Google Boston University UVC research, or we can also provide with you with the details.
And there's another interesting question that someone has asked. You've mentioned that UVC is a 35-year-old technology. Can you please let us know where was it applied before the COVID virus?
Yes, so it is being used in water disinfection since long, and there are water purifiers available in the market as well, which use UVC lamps in it. Also, just to mention one name, so there is a company So Safe. So they are using UVC lamps in their water purification products. Also, UVC lamps were used in industrial applications, for example, in Tetra Pak. So the uh, the disinfection of the carton which is being made, so that is done through UVC. So in the end, in the conveyor where the production is taking place, so UVC lamps are installed above that conveyor. Similar application is also used in FMCGs. So what happens over there is that there is fungal growth on the conveyor due to the residual of the food which is being prepared over there. So in order to inactivate that fungal growth, the UVC lamps are also installed above the conveyor. Similarly, UVC disinfection was being used to clean the tanks. So tanks can be cleaned through two ways, either from a chemical or through a UVC. You can disinfect it. So one thing to mention is that for all these applications or the usages, first the dose was created and a design was created before it was being applied. And in all these application safety, you need to make sure safety that there is safety for the human beings. So you need to take precautionary steps. You need to train the operators. So this is very necessary. So yes, this was being used. Also to mention, if anyone goes to the tuberculosis hospital, so UVC upper air was installed way 10 to 15 years from now on. So if you go to tuberculosis hospital, TB hospital in Karachi, so the upper air is installed over there also. And also if you want to see the upper air installation, so you can go to SIUT and JPMC. So soon these will be installed over there as well. Also, UVCs were being used in the operation theaters. So before preparing any operation theater, you need to disinfect it. So UVC lamps were also used over there.
Yes, Ali, we have one more interesting question. What are the industry standards and guidelines that we are following for this UVC lighting? Are there any standards and guidelines that we follow for this UVC lighting?
There are few standards. One is photobiological safety. You need to make sure that whatever product you are making passes that photobiological safety. Similarly, there are safety standards from uh, WHO as well, but there are no any safety protocols for IEC standards yet. But soon it will be implemented because these days R&D, research and development, is on its top for UVC. And just to mention that after COVID, our own signifiers of Philips production also increased 3 times. So yes, we are increasing our productions, we are increasing our research and development. So soon there will be more standards as well. Till now, there are a few standards only.
There's one more question, Ali. For consumer portfolio, what are the products that you have in market? And secondly, how different is Philips UV portfolio from the air disinfection devices that are already available in the market?
So very interesting question. So there are products for consumers as well. So just to mention is one, the Philips consumer product is UVC desk lamp. So it's a small lamp which is portable. You can carry it anywhere. It has built-in sensor. It has timers. So it it is available online as well for sales, and you can also see in market. So similar desk lamps are also made by other companies as well. So till now, for also there are consumer chambers as well, which they are just like microwave ovens. So they are small chambers, and the idea is that you, for household items like your mobile or kitchen or the grocery which you buy from the market, you can disinfect those in those chambers, small chambers. So these two products are there for consumers. Now, the second question was regarding difference in Philips products and others. So what Philips is doing is that Philips is making sure that whatever they are, the product they are making, first and foremost, it is very much safe and easy to use in any application. So what we do is that we are putting sensors in it, not just proximity sensors, but microwave sensors, so that the sensitivity is super strong and a slight movement can be detected, and also can be detected through walls as microwaves can penetrate through walls. And also we are making sure in our products that if a sensor malfunctions it, or if the sensor is not working, so the entire product does not go on. So this is very important safety feature. So Signify or Philips is putting a lot of efforts in putting safety in its product. Secondly, what we have to make sure is the product is cost effective. It can be easily bought. If it is very much expensive, then it cannot be used in daily applications. It cannot be afforded by people. So these two things Signify or Philips is working most on. And the efficiency, last but not the least, the efficiency. So efficiency can only be implemented if you give a proper and correct design. So for it, we are training our people, we are training our design team. So we are not just selling the products, we are giving the entire solution. So that is the difference between Signify and any other company.
Okay, Ali, there's one more question. Is UVC lighting safe to use to disinfect food grade products like, the daily grocery items? Can we disinfect them?
Yes, definitely you can disinfect them, and this is recommended. You see, UVC is just a light or a ray. It does not get penetrated into anything. It is not penetrated into anything. It just hits the surface and it reflects off or it is broken because the wavelength is very short. So idea is that if you buy any grocery or vegetable or fruits from the market, you should disinfect it before using it. So it is highly recommended and it is being used in different countries, not in Pakistan yet, but I hope it will soon be used. Also, we are using these UVC lamps in FMCGs, food manufacturing companies. So they use it on their production line and they are disinfecting it because it helps to helps in disinfecting bacterias. It also does not allow fungal growth of the fungus. So it is recommended. Yes.
If anybody of you would like to ask any question, please type them in the Q&A box. For anybody who would like to receive a copy of the presentation or our brochures and literature on UVC, please write your name and your email address in the question and answer box. We'll make sure that we send you a copy of the presentations. And if there are any comments for the presentation, for the webinar, please do type your comments also. If you have, enjoyed about UVC lighting, please type them in your Q&A box. We would like to, we would love to hear. Yeah, so we would love to hear from you. And if anybody would like to see physical samples of these UVC lights, we have live demo sessions that we conduct at our office. If you're interested, please write it. Please write your name and your company's name, and we would like to invite you to, one of our open house sessions that we conduct very regularly. So if there are any comments further, please share them with us before we close the session. Thank you, Ali and Jamil, for the detailed presentation that you've shared with us. It was quite a learning journey for all of us to learn about this UVC lighting. We would like to especially thank our co-host IEEEP team for their great efforts in making this event possible. Without them, arranging this seminar would have not been possible. So a huge thanks to the IEEEP team for organizing this event and co-hosting it with Philips. It's an honor for us. Before we close, I would like to invite Mr. Khalid Parvez Saab to share a few comments on today's session and close the session with his comments. So over to you. Khalid Saab, can you hear us? I think there are some technical difficulties for Khalid Saab to connect. Anyways, thank you all. It was a pleasure having you in today's session and learning from all the questions that we had. It's been an exciting journey for all of us. Thank you for joining in today's session. If you have any comments, any questions, if you would like to receive a copy of the presentation or any other literature, please free to write to us. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining today's session. We would like to, wind up. Thank you.